It's happened again. I don't know how I want to structure today's vlog. I really don't. Because nothing's gone according to plan. Doctor's appointments. Guests. Deliveries. And really bad music. Oh my god. What have I gone and got myself into? Right. So, I had planned on making this a bit more vloggy, but the few times I could have really made it more vloggy, more out of the house, more getting stuff done, more doing things, other things cropped up, and I didn't bother, or I left the camera at home, didn't bother. All in, it's been an alright day, just, you know, expect the unexpected. Tsunami hits now. Should have expected that, you prick. So, first things first, doctor's appointment, I suppose. I had to take Big Man to the doctor's. If there's one thing I should probably regret more with the kids, is this whole power through attitude. Big Man's not been feeling well. I've been talking about for a while. He's got a nasty virus, but he's been covering up how bad he feels, and he won't tell you how he feels. I'll just be, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm fine. All right. It's not unless you know what it's like, and you see little changes, little quirks, little slip-ups in the routine, things being done slightly differently. It's at that point you're like, hang on, right, now there's something going on here. And we started to notice, it's like we're take him into the doctors, and they're like, yep, here you go, antibiotics, some creams, relevant medications, you know, because he's not well. He's not well. He's like coughing up shite as well, outside of the virus. So he's like rocking a chest infection at this point too. And it's like, oh god. And his little kidneys are getting pounded right now. And I'm going to say it's largely my fault, because he's taken on the same kind of grief that I do. When I'm feeling sick, and I mean I'm feeling really sick, like Inky and Mum and other people say, like, come on lads, be good, you know, your dad's not feeling well, blah blah blah, just don't play up and all that kind of stuff. Like if family has to go anywhere, and I'm looking after the boys, and so that, like, you know, one of two things will happen. Like either they'll stay well out of my way because they don't want to cause me any trouble, or they kind of tiptoe around things, and then I get up and I'm like, you know, they're like, well, we don't want to do it, blah blah blah, because you're not feeling well. I was like, no, don't worry about that, I'm fine, and I will be completely spaced out, wanting to hit the floor, wanting to throw up, but I'll still be like, yes, I'm fine, we can do this, let's go, let's fucking, come on, it's fine, don't worry about it, and you know, you're about ready to drop to the floor, but you're still doing what you need to get done, because you have to get it done. And I don't want my children to necessarily, not when they're children, maybe when they're grown-ups, sure, but when you're children, they don't need to do that. And that's one thing I'd like to get them out of it, to be honest with you. Like, they don't have to shoulder that burden themselves. The grown-ups will help them through it, you know. Of course, there are some things we can't take away. There are some things that we can't just make feel better. But oh dear. So, you know, there's that, and we've hung out with the boys today. Then Charity came around today, which is a bit of a surprise. We've had another time on the phone, chatting to Inky's friends. Charity came down, which was a random one, just hanging out. Decided we'd go for a little walk, and we would take some pictures. And I'll I can kind of tie this directly in, I suppose. We took some pictures on Inky's Land 1000 Polaroid. Wait. Well, actually, no, she wanted to take one picture. We were talking to another one of our friends, which is why I didn't vlog whilst we were down the park. We bumped into some folks we knew. We were chatting away, and it's not really right to pull the camera out when when you're just randomly talking to people who don't necessarily know that you vlog all the time. We were just talking about life stuff, and then we branched off, and Inky wanted to take a photograph, which is given me a new understanding of Polaroids, which is a silly thing to say because it's quite obvious from a photography standpoint. But let me go see if I can find the picture. Let it be known that I feel bad because I've just had to come in and open up one of Inky's art books because I couldn't. There's Polaroids strewn all over the place here, but I couldn't find the one that they asked me to take. So we branch off. We got to take this picture, and it's pretty solid daylight, but the picture, and every picture she's taken on this film cartridge, has come out kind of like, this camera's fixed focus too, so I'll just spin the camera. Every picture has come out like this. Well, it's blurry, Scares. It's out of focus. It's not out of focus. That is motion blur. If I find another one, so that's Inky, Charity and Charlie Under the Tree. That's one that I took. The colours on it are great. And then here's another one of Charity coming into the art room, and they're being taken with this Polaroid Land 1000, which is a fixed focus camera. So you can't focus it. It focuses from about 3 or 4 feet. Then everything after that is tack sharp in focus. It's infinity focus from about 3 feet. So anything closer than that's out of focus. Everything behind that is in focus. What I didn't know about this camera, because most if you see most people taking pictures with old Polaroids, they have flash bars on the top. You tend to see people taking pictures like they're either in bright sunlight or they've got a flash bar on the top. Even when they're outside, you tend to see people with Polaroids, the flashes go off. No flash, so okay. So I was like, right, let's have a look at what this is shooting at, because what this is the reason that, fuck's sake, the reason they're blurry is where you've snapped the picture and the shutter is being held open, and any motion in your hands or any motion from the subject will be translated as blur. They will smear across the image. So it's not like a done. It's click, shutters open, click, done. Any motion between that kind of open and done bit blurs. It smears. Okay? It's like if you paint on something and it's wet, and then you if it's a fast shutter speed, you literally go tack and it's dry, kind of like a biro pen. If it's a slow shutter speed, it's like ink. You just go and it smears. Okay? Turns out, I thought this thing was rocking like an aperture of f8 or something like that. f14, and the film speed is approximately somewhere between 100 and 200. So if you want to know the kind of trouble you're going to have with one of these cameras, take your modern camera and set the ISO to 100 or 200, okay, which is your sensitivity. Then take your aperture, set it to f14, which is, it's like a pinhole. Okay, so it's not letting in a whole hell of a lot of light, and the film itself isn't particularly sensitive because the ISO is so low. The only other place you can adjust is the shutter speed, how long the shutter stays open for a given exposure. So, and if you've got a modern camera, turn off in-body stabilization or your lenses stabilizer, because that thing doesn't have one. Go outside, even in reasonable light, not like glare and sun, because the UK will never see glare and sun, right? Even in kind of shaded areas, the shutter speed on that thing drops to about 1/4 of a second. That is not hand-holdable without a stabilizer. At all. And here comes the wifey. Hi.
Hi.
So...
You're talking about photos?
Yeah, I'm talking about because Big Man took a couple of pictures, didn't he?
That's the sun directly into the camera.
Yes, yeah, it won't...
I like it, though.
Yeah, it's a nice picture, but I'm explaining how people can see how that's difficult to use using a modern camera. Okay, so you're ringing.
Yeah, I didn't know.
If you turn on the in-body stabilization or the lenses stabilizer, you'll be able to take a picture at that shutter speed, and it'll be sharp. Okay, without a stabilizer, just take the picture, and whilst it goes, move it. Like as soon as you hear the shutter go, just move it, and then you'll hear it go again as it closes the shutter, or as it closes it back down. Anything that happens between the moment it goes dark to the moment it goes for the second time, it will blur. Okay, without in-body stabilization or lens stabilization, which obviously this thing doesn't have. You're basically fecked. Excellent. So, that's a fun thing to learn. I didn't realise it was an f14. I knew the film was slow. Around about 100 to 200 film speed. But my God, that makes that very, very difficult to take a sharp picture without flash. However, there are some cool artistic things you can do with it because of the slow shutter speed if you have a flash, assuming it doesn't adjust the shutter speed for if it doesn't automatically adjust the shutter speed, realizing that it's got a flash on the top. If you ever take a picture with a flash and you set your shutter speed to be horribly slow, the subject will be exposed correctly and tack sharp because they would have been burnt into the image. But if you then walk as you're taking that picture, the background will smear out, which is a very cool effect. I wonder if you can do that with a Polaroid.
Oh, I have.
But
I step back, you can see the smear coming there.
But it's
Hi.
It's interesting.
Hi, Fiddle!
Bugger off, you.
Oh, is
Smelly.
he?
No.
What are you doing?
He's filming his vlog.
Go away, you insufferable little fart.
He's just bought you this.
Oh, has he? Hot drink and chocolate.
Give
Come on then. Come here. Where's my hug? Yeah, I'm wearing shorts. What do you mean wearing shorts?
You got some. You just bought that for Daddy, didn't you? And you bought some treats for Charlie.
Oh, yeah? You can't drink ass powder, you bird.
You'll be choking on it.
Yeah. Hello, Charlie. Go on, you.
Come on,
Bugger off.
Come on, bugger it! I
No,
want
you're not.
it! Come on. He bought that for you, Daddy, because you think you need hot chocolate before you go to bed.
Do I?
Thank
you, my man.
And he got treats for the dog. Right, I'll see you a bit later, Don.
Okay, cool.
Love you.
You too. I'm going to go see off my family. I'll be back in a sec. And back we are here again. Gravy. I've just kind of forgot what I was saying. Basically, camera exposure or something to that effect. That's why pictures blur, right? That same thing happens as well, by the way, if it's dark and you've got your phone. Okay, so if you ever take a picture and it's like in a dark-ish room, or it's late at night and you're like at a club or a pub or something like that, or you're in a house and you're trying to take a picture of like your kids or your friends or whatever, and all of a sudden the image blurs, it's not that the camera is shite, it's that you don't understand exposure properly. So the way it normally works is that you have sensitivity, which is your ISO, or your film speed, your shutter speed, how long the camera lets light in through the lens, okay, and then your aperture, so how wide is the iris of the lens. The bigger the number, the smaller the hole in the lens, the smaller the number. So like f2, if it says f2, it's quite a big wide opening. Say f12, it's much smaller. the Polaroids rocking an f14 or thereabouts was a bit of a surprise, because even in sunlight, if you can't control your film sensitivity any, the only other option you've got, because on film cameras, film sensitivity is dictated by the speed of film you put in your camera. If you can't adjust the film speed, or on modern cameras ISO, that only leaves you with shutter speed and aperture. And if you can't adjust your aperture, or you've got your shutter speed, you're likely to get a blurry image if you can't flood that area with light. So understand that as well with your phone cameras. If you've got to take a picture and it's either really kind of grainy, dotty, looks kind of messy, not blurry, but but messy, that is likely because your phone has increased the sensitivity, and the more sensitive it is to light, it's artificially boosting the kind of the center point of the image, the center point of the exposure. So it will then kind of increase all of the other like little issues you wouldn't normally see. So like if you look in most of the vlogs done with my phone, they're kind of grainy and messy, just because the camera is literally upping the brightness artificially through increasing the film sensitivity, and it does that with the shutter speed and all that too. I think this is a fixed aperture of f, I don't fucking know, but so that's why you end up with duffer pictures, and that's, I was just surprised that that a Polaroid fixed lens camera is like f14. If it was f8, it would have been more reasonable, but f14 that's a very, very tiny iris. So you need quite a bit of light to get. We were out in the middle of the day. That was light, but because obviously it was under a tree and the camera's like, and it freaked out, because it is kind of an old camera, so metering's not up there. You know what I mean? It was blurring all of the pictures, and even some of the stuff we took later on in the day, right out in the sun, they still came out blurry because the camera just couldn't do anything at the film speed that it was given. So flashes are a must. Delivery. We got these through today. I've actually got a few more. I said that I bought Inky a couple. These are Polaroid Impulse instant cameras. Okay, so these are, I believe, a bit more modern than what Inky is using now. There's two of them, and there is a difference between the two. Okay, so these, unlike Inky's current one, these take 600 film, which I believe is more sensitive than the stuff that Inky has in hers. So it's got a higher ISO by default. And the reason I know that, other than looking, unless you look at the film packet, is that if you put 600 film into a camera like Inky's, you have to actually darken or reduce the amount of light that can be put onto the film. Otherwise, they all come out overexposed and white. They come out way too bright. So you have to effectively put on a blind. You have to put a neutral density filter over the lens, to make sure that it can't take in as much light. But anyway, yeah, these take 600 film, and the differences between the two are that this doesn't have an autofocus in it. That's what this big old beefy thing is at the front here. It's down to your autofocus, and the cool thing about these, built-in flash. Okay, same with this one. Built-in flash. You can get these for about $10 off the internet. Anywhere between 10 and $20. This one's fixed lens, like the one that Inky has inside in the art room. This one has an autofocus on it, so it's kind of, it's got a bit of a range to it. Yeah, we got these. So when we get some 600 film, it'll be nice to have a go with these. We've also got another Land 1000, like what Inky has outside, coming, so that with a flash on it, so that she can do magic Polaroidy pictures. She still likes the ones that she's got now, even though they're blurred. Yeah, it's kind of neat, but I can understand a lot of people these days, but the price of film for these, they're not cheap. It's like £2 a photo. I can see a lot of people getting really angry and upset if their photos don't come out. But when you're using technology this old, what do you expect? A lot of people are slagging this kind of stuff off. Should have left it in the 70s where it belongs, man. Just use your iPhone and stuff like that. Ugh. I get the groove, I do. Just, you're using these kind of things for a different aesthetic, a different experience. I mean, the kids fucking love these. Not these specifically, but the Polaroids. The idea that they can take a picture and within a couple of minutes they actually have something physical that they can take around. It doesn't need batteries or anything. They've actually got the photo. They absolutely love it. So we might have to buy a few packs of 600 film just for the kids to play about with. So we've had a bit of photography. We've had a photography-ish focused day and just hanging out. And again, when Charity came around, I didn't really fancy pulling the camera out or anything like that. So we just hung out with the kids and got stuff done. Inky and Charity were doing like artsy fartsy stuff as they do, doing the whole life talky thing. Yeah. Another reason why I didn't pull out the camera is music. I am supposed to be going to a gig on Sunday. It's an Opeth gig. And I'm going to be honest with you, after today's experience, I am really not looking forward to it. Sorry, DeWald. DeWald is who I'm supposed to be going to the gig with. I'm not looking forward to it. I said to DeWald that I would sit down and I would listen to Opeth's back catalogue and their current stuff. And I ain't going to have time to listen to Opeth's back catalogue, so it's pretty long. I've listened to some of it in the past. I remember them being they're a metal band, I'm pretty sure they're a Swedish metal band, like a death metal band. Well, they were. Some of their stuff was pretty heavy. It was, pretty growly. Very kind of, you had a bit of, an At the Gatesy, Entombedy style vibe. It was very much like the area. But oh my god, this new album. See, I've only got Spotify now for another week. Also, I cancelled it because I don't use it that much. Why am I paying £7+ a month for? I'm not listening to any new music, and they're taking away stuff that I have been listening to because they haven't got licenses for it. So I was like, what the fuck's the point in paying for it? I put on their newest album. It was about 1 hour and 7 minutes long, and I was like, okay, it's taken me all day to listen to the album. And I started kind of skipping between some of their stuff, and I was like, okay, none of this stuff resonates with me. They've gone very prog rocky, and that's not the kind of music that I go to Opeth for. I've never had a particular attachment to Opeth either, style-wise. They are not my band of choice for either style of music, be it death metal or prog rock. But DeWald absolutely loves them. Absolutely loves them. He loves Opeth. He has done for years. He was listening to Opeth when he was going through a bit of an emo stage. When I say an emo stage, I mean when life kicks you in the fucking face and you're feeling really low and just certain music resonates with you a lot more. You hold on to that. I've had it with, Entombed, At the Gates, My Dying Bride, Stormtroopers of Death, Sabbath, Death, certain things just resonate with you for a time. I really like a couple of Death's tracks, Bite the Pain, Scavenger of Human Sorrow, just certain tracks they sit with you. They hit that chord with you at that time, and for forever and always that song will always be great to you. And DeWalt has that thing going on with Opeth. And so I'm listening to this album, and I felt like I was probably about halfway through, because Opeth tracks are usually pretty fucking long. I'm like, I'm about halfway through, and then finally a track started to resonate with me. I mean, I think it took about 9 minutes for for what I would consider to be heavy guitar work to actually kick in on the album. And even that wasn't fucking heavy. It was heavy by prog rock standards, but not by my standards. 9 minutes. And I think I'm about halfway through the album, and I feel like something is resonating with me. And no, I was about a third of the way through the last song on the album. I can't remember what the song was quite aptly named. Actually, let me see if I can load it up and find out what that song was fucking called, because oh my god, my hopes for this gig have fallen clean off the planet. Opeth. Oh, apparently I can't type. I can't even use my hands today. So, here we go. Opeth. I mean, even the dudes fucking their style has it's changed. The way they look is very prog rocky now. You know, they do not look like a metal band. They look like they've come from like the 70s and 80s. Here we go. So we look for the British version of the album. Do not play anything. The last track is All Things Will Pass. That was the point. I mean, what's that? That's like 59 minutes into the fucking album. 59 minutes into the album before something actually hit. Otherwise, I couldn't tell you when one track ended and the next one started. Their new stuff sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks. I don't know what happened to them for them to go through that style change, but that is not a good sound for them, in my opinion. If you really like Opeth, cool. I preferred their older stuff. Maybe they just got bored. But that album is... None of that album really... To say that, like, a single track resonated with me means that album's not great. I mean, if every other track on that album's completely forgettable to me, that gig's gonna fucking blow, because I'm pretty sure that the gig we're going to is to support that album. Oh my god. And the support band, I can't remember what they're called as well. Oh god. I'm gonna be miserable. It's gonna be a couple hours of my life I'm gonna be fucking miserable. And I can't get myself into a drunken stupor either, because I've promised the wall that I won't hurl in his car. Yes, I promised I won't hurl in his car. And I've promised Inky that I'll be on my best behaviour, but fuck it. I've even promised I won't stand there and heckle the band. I've promised I won't heckle the band, but my god, so after listening to that, I want to. I really want to. If you were new to their music and you came in at their prog rocky stage, maybe that'd be cool. But as I said, that's not what I go to Opeth for. I mean, I thought that the whole prog rock thing had a resurgence like 20 years ago, briefly, and now it's apparently coming back through Opeth. Oh dear. All of the things that DeWalt told me about that album, I don't believe at all either. It's got some really atmospheric bits in it and blah blah blah. I honestly do think it's the rose-tinted glasses of being having that hit when you were younger, when you had a dark time. You've had that thing where the band has been ingrained into your into your very being. I think it's that talking, to be honest with you. That's because I didn't catch any of that at all. There was nothing particularly eerie about it, nothing particularly spooky about it, nothing particularly... I didn't think it was particularly atmospheric. Some of the samples and things that were put in there were just so out of place. Lyrically, I didn't resonate with any of it. Guitar-wise, none of it. I'm going to have a miserable time at this gig. I apologise to Walt outright, mate. If I fuck this gig up for you, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it might be better if we take someone else with him, to be honest with you, because this ain't going to go well. And so that's another reason why I haven't vlogged today. I've been listening to a fair bit of music. Not good music. I mean, honestly, the kind of stuff I like to listen to. Dissection. I know this is still sealed, But I recently got hold of another copy of Storm of the Light's Bane. I quite like this album. I listened to this a lot when I was younger. I've actually got a copy of the Somber Lane coming through as well, which was one of their first. That was their first album, I think, their first commercial release. You know, the British Godsend. You know. And obviously Inky bought me these are the only 3 CDs I've got like laying around. You know, Megadeth. The Opeth album just doesn't. It doesn't. I can think of a million bands that do prog better than Opeth. And I can think of a million bands that do death and metal better than Opeth too. So right now they don't sit on a scale for me. But I'm gonna head off. So I've been rabbiting on for too long, and I've got nothing done today. Absolutely dickle nothing. Have you ever had a band have a style change and you just be like, oh? I get vocal changes, but a complete style flip is just... And if it only goes for one album, okay, but when you've got a run of albums, to have such a fucking huge jump. Have you ever had one of your favourite bands do that? Have you ever had someone say that a band you like, that resonates with you, has released a shit album and you've jumped up to defend it, even though kind of in your heart of hearts you know it's kind of shite? Have you ever had that? Because, man, don't get me wrong, Stormtroopers of Death isn't the greatest band in the world, but I love that band. And I'll admit they're not lyrical geniuses. The guitar work isn't great, but you know, the story of that album, the story of Stormtroopers of Death's albums, kind of go with the style. You know, I'm not going to jump up and down if you say that they're shit, but oh my god! Right, hope you're well. I'll see you all with a bit of luck tomorrow.